From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Monday, February the 10th, 2020. Several rockets were fired at Israel from Gaza this weekend. The IDF responded to the attacks, striking Hamas terror targets in Gaza. There were also more incendiary balloons launched into Israel. Police sappers were called to the scene to safely defuse the devices. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said today that Israel will not take unilateral action on annexation with regard to the U.S. peace plan, only moving ahead, he said, with the approval of the United States. During a tour of the Jordan Valley today, Netanyahu said Israel, however, does not need approval from the Palestinians. He said an Israeli-American team is working on the specific mapping of the territory before Israel takes any steps. The Palestinians reportedly are withdrawing their request for a vote at the UN Security Council tomorrow to reject the U.S. peace plan. French news agency AFP reports that the motion, which was introduced by Indonesia and Tunisia, does not have enough international support and was at risk of not having 9 out of 15 votes in its favor, which is the minimum required for adoption, assuming there is no veto by a permanent member of the Council. It is believed that the United States would veto such a motion if it did come to a vote. And the Jerusalem Post reported that the Palestinian Authority asked for a delay in the vote. PA President Mahmoud Abbas will still address the Council regardless tomorrow, and as we reported to you, join former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert later in New York for a press conference that will reportedly condemn the U.S. plan as well. Israel's ambassador to the UN, Danny Danon, in an op-ed today in the Jerusalem Post, asked Olmert not to join Abbas. He wrote to Olmert, "You know very well that the road to resolving this conflict does not pass through New York, but only through Jerusalem and Ramallah." Danon, by the way, is expected to address the press tomorrow at the UN. Pro-Israel lobby AIPAC posted an apology for several Facebook ads it placed warning against radical anti-Israel Democrats. One ad read, "The radicals in the Democratic Party are pushing their anti-Semitic and anti-Israel policies down the throats of the American people." Another asked for Democrats not to abandon Israel, showing 3 congresswomen who have been criticized for their views and remarks against Israel, Representatives Rashida Tlaib, Betty McCollum, and Ilan Omar. AIPAC later apologized to, they wrote, the overwhelming majority of Democrats in Congress who are rightfully offended by the inaccurate assertion that the poorly worded inflammatory advertisement implied. AIPAC wrote that the ad alluded to a genuine concern about a small but growing group working to erode the bipartisan support of Israel. Senator Elizabeth Warren said she would not attend the AIPAC policy conference next month. At a town hall meeting in Derry, New Hampshire, Thursday night, a woman from the far-left Jewish group If Not Now asked the presidential hopeful to skip the conference, accusing AIPAC of forming a, quote, unholy alliance with Islamophobes, anti-Semites, and white nationalists, unquote. The woman then asked Warren if she would commit to skipping the conference in March. Warren answered, yeah. B'nai B'rith International tweeted they were disappointed in Elizabeth Warren's blind acceptance of the anti-AIPAC rant at her rally. The American Jewish Committee responded, tweeting at Senator Warren, AIPAC is a pro-Israel voice that agrees with you and us about the need for a 2-state solution negotiated by both sides. They wrote, we hope you find an opportunity to clarify that you do not agree with the questioner's baseless and offensive characterization of the organization. And the AJC is teaming up with Israel's humanitarian aid organization, IsraAid, to help tackle the spread of the deadly coronavirus. IsraAid has sent emergency medical supplies and protective gear to the Chinese Ministry of Health, and Magen David Adom sent protective supplies to be distributed by Chabad in China. The 92nd Annual Academy Awards were held last night. Jewish winners included director, writer, and actor Taika Waititi, whose mother is Jewish and whose father is Maori. He took home the Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay for Jojo Rabbit. Today is BiShvat, the Jewish holiday marking the new year or birthday for the trees. And trees were planted throughout Israel today in celebration of the holiday. Other traditions include eating dried fruit and nuts native to the land of Israel. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Monday, February the 10th. At 7 o'clock, it's The Wisdom of Dr. Ruth. At 7:30, Israeli director Yaron Zilberman talks about his film Incitement, which tells of the assassination of Yitzhak Rabin. At 8, actor Sacha Baron Cohen and Broadway's Lisa Kron, Adam Cantor, Daniel Watts, and Benj Pasek speak at the 2019 ADL Never Is Now Summit in New York City. At 9, Mark Golub sits down with Mordechai Kedar on L'chaim. At 10, Jewish humor from the 92nd Street Y. And coming up right after this newscast, it's Good Week, Israel. And that's the JBS News Update for Monday, February the 10th, 2020. I'm Teisha Bader.